V Wade, just overturned in the Supreme Court. This was a landmark case that effectively changes abortions in multiple states effective immediately, where no longer will abortions be available. Clinics will be shut down. Planned Parenthoods will no longer exist in certain states. And several other states that it could eventually pass anti-abortion laws will also shutter their doors as well, making it even harder to get an abortion. I want to make a video about what actually happened here, what caused the Supreme Court to even look at this case. It actually all started when there was a Mississippi law banning abortions after 15 weeks. This was contested in court and actually went all the way to the Supreme Court. When they looked at this case, the Roe v. Wade case was actually brought up in the past, and the Supreme Court looked at that and was actually going to make a ruling on that as well. But actually, the only thing that they were ruling on initially was one state, and it was actually abortions after 15 weeks. Unfortunately, the Supreme Court, instead of upholding the Mississippi law that banned abortions after 15 weeks, went even further and overturned Roe v. Wade altogether, effectively changing the laws on abortion in several states. Now, I just want to point out this law has been in effect from 1973 and had been controversial up until now, when it was completely overturned and essentially useless. But one of the other things I want to point out is Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, John Roberts, actually didn't agree with the decision to overturn the Roe v. Wade case altogether. That's actually not what they were ruling on. They were only ruling on Mississippi State, and it was only after 15 weeks. But effectively, by overturning Roe v. Wade, it completely changed the outcome of this case. Now, I don't know what the actual goal was of either side in this specific case, if it was just to get the abortion after 15 weeks or before 15 weeks, but it seems they went completely to 0 to 100 to effectively ban abortions in multiple states. Now, this actually has a trigger law effect in multiple states where if nationally abortions are considered illegal, certain states will no longer effectively be able to perform any abortions at any clinics, and that's why a lot of them are shuttering their doors. Some of these states that have trigger laws are South Dakota, Oklahoma, Texas, Louisiana, Missouri, Arkansas, Kentucky, and Tennessee. Now, what's the good news in all of this, if any? 22 states are still protected. It does make it a lot harder for people in certain states to get an abortion, and a lot of states could actually overturn laws that protect abortions coming up. I want to also point out what the outcome of this case was. The Supreme Court ruled there was no constitutional right to an abortion. It's actually not written in the Constitution, and that's what they were ruling on. And that was the basis for their case of why they should overturn Roe v. Wade. They say it was unfounded and essentially completely made up, and I think that was the words they used. However, the Supreme Court ruled that the government, or at least the federal government nationally, has no right making a law outlawing abortions altogether or saying that they're able to be performed either way. This essentially puts the ability to get an abortion in the hands of the states and to their elected officials. They're the ones who are actually going to determine if abortions will still be able to be legal in that state. Now, this does change things, I think, at least politically. And I don't want to get into too much of the political side of things, but now abortion will even more so be brought to the forefront of state elected officials and what they believe in for abortion rights, for or against. I feel like a lot of states it's going to uphold, and especially in the southern states area that already outlaw it, that could not really change. But this may have an effect on future elected officials. We'll see. Now, I just want to make it abundantly clear, it's still possible to get an abortion, and it's not completely illegal. Certain states it is, and if I was a healthcare worker in states where it was illegal to perform an abortion, and that's something that I did, you could actually get prison time for that. I'm not sure how long, but that's how real this has just become. So I hope this information helps, and this is an evolving process, but really the only thing the president is probably going to do is say people just need to get out and vote for what they believe in.